Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining our LinkedIn Live event today. Today, we'll be discussing how to energize your engineering career. I'm Kyle Harrison at Eaton, and I'm your host today. If you're seeing me, you're in the right place. Before we get started, a quick reminder. No link clicking is required during this event. Feel free to share your thoughts and questions directly in the comments section. For those of you joining today who may not be familiar with Eaton, we're an intelligent power management company with a diverse portfolio of products and services. Our mission is to improve the quality of life and the environment through the use of power management technologies and services. Our global engineering community counts nearly 10,000 highly skilled professionals. These minds are at the forefront of shaping the future of our planet through sustainable technology. Our engineers work in domains such as power electronics, energy systems, material science, additive manufacturing, Industry 4.0, aerospace, e-mobility, digital technologies, and cybersecurity. Today, I'm joined by an exceptional panel of engineering professionals from around the world. If you could please introduce yourselves, sharing your roles at Eaton, as well as any fun facts. Anne, let's please get started with you.
Hey Kyle, and hi everyone. So my name is Anne-Lily White. You can read my title below, but really what I'm doing is I'm leading one of Eaton's division based in Europe, and we develop solutions for our customers to decarbonize their installations, their buildings, their airports, their factories. So we build sustainable solutions. I've been with Eaton for years. Today I'm based in Switzerland, but I'll tell you a bit more later. And fun facts about me is that I love actually heavy metal, and I drive sports bike. Laura, you're next.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Anne. My name is Laura Valencia Fritsch, and I am a program manager at Eaton's e-mobility sector. I work in new product introductions and industrialization for electric vehicle. I have been with Eaton for 10 years, and a fun fact about me is that I'm actually the first female in my family to hold a master's degree.
And Milos, are you there with us? Oh no, I think we lost someone with our connections. That's okay. If Milos is able to get back on, we'll join him.
I'm back in. I apologize for that. Now I'm in with the group. Is it my turn to introduce myself?
Yes, sir.
We'll love to do that. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the short hiccup that I have just had. My name is Milos, and I lead the European part of Eaton Research Labs team, which is nothing else than the corporate research department. I'm based in Prague at the Eaton European Innovation Center, where we develop new technologies and products for the company. I've been with Eaton for more than 6 years, most time with the mobility group, driving the transition from diesel trucks towards electrified heavy-duty transport. Now I do the same, but for data center power, aerospace, and other industries. Fun fact about me is I'm one of the few chemical engineers with the company. Back to you, Kyle. Maybe you handed us over to the next questions.
Yes, thank you, Milos, and thank you, everyone, for joining. Again, I'm Kyle Harrison. A little bit about myself. I'm the Atlanta Satellite Manager or Business Operations Manager. I've been with Eaton for 8.5 years, and I've had roles spanning from the operations side to marketing and sales-oriented roles. And now I'm back on the operations side, leading the Atlanta site. So pleasure to be here. A friendly reminder to our audience, we'll be answering your questions. So please share those in the comments section. We're going to do our best to respond to as many of those as we can. So why don't we get started with some career stories? How did you energize your career? Tell us a little bit about your experience, including where you started, as well as how you got to where you are today. Anne, maybe you can take this one first.
Sure. Thanks, Kai. So I'm not going to go through my whole career, otherwise I might eat up all the time, because I think I'm the most senior here today. But what I'd like to share is how I've energized it. Actually, it's been a journey which went so fast. It seems like I've never stopped learning every day. So one of the things which I did regularly was change of role or change of industry. For instance, I started in telecommunication a long time ago. Then I moved to aerospace. And more recently, I'm really happy to have joined more of the energy/electricity sector. I've done different roles. Of course, I'm an engineer and I will still remain an engineer at heart. And it's very helpful in technology company. But I've been very passionate to do some program management, some sales, and today I'm running a business. Also, something which is super exciting and which I did in the later years of my career is change countries. So I've worked in France, in Czech Republic, and now I'm in Switzerland. So lots of fun.
Excellent. Thanks for that introduction. Laura, how about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I was actually recruited by Eaton at one of the career conventions. Back in 2013, I attended the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers convention in Indianapolis, and that's basically where they snagged me. Since then, I've held multiple roles within Eaton. With the first role I had was with the Engineering Technology Leadership Development Program, and I had the opportunity to work in some of the other businesses. First with the electrical sector, working in residential breakers. Then with the hydraulic sector, working on application for wind turbine. And now I am in the mobility sector, working in battery distribution units for electric vehicle. So it has been definitely exciting.
Yes, an excellent journey so far for you, and great to hear a little bit about that coverage, starting with the development program. So, Milos, care to weigh in with your career so far?
Happy to do so. Some of you probably mentioned that I've disappeared for a moment again. I think it's just the colleagues out of the EIC trying to watch the live event, even though they know me very well. Who knows? Now I'm connected to the hard wire, so it should work just fine. When it comes to energizing my career, it started with headhunting. I was actually headhunted to Eaton by Lucia. I know she's listening now, so kudos to you. It feels great to work with you while looking for new talent for Eaton. You are doing a great job. I started as a systems engineer, worked with the advanced development part of Eaton's mobility group, looking on new powertrain concepts, designs, what value they bring to customers and to society overall. The societal part and the impact of this later extended to even further. I've had the chance and the honor to represent Eaton in front of the European regulatory bodies. I've worked on CO2 reduction, air quality, vehicle safety, and this resulted in many interactive and exciting collaborative programs, mostly in the R&D domain with academic industrial partners. Now I have the chance to leverage the collective experience in leading corporate research departments, and it feels quite cool to be part of the energy systems and power electronics piece that Eaton does. We are not isolated. We work with many businesses, which are currently represented by Anne and Laura as well.
Very nice, Milos, and quite a range of backgrounds we've got here. I similar to Laura, started out straight from college as a direct hire with Eaton, so it's really nice to see that mix of folks that have come in with a lot of experience in similar industries or different industries, as well as folks who have kind of grown within the organization straight out of their immediate schooling. So let's get into maybe some unexpected lessons that you've learned during your engineering journey. Anne, would you care to share any unexpected lessons that you've learned?
Yeah, I'll share two actually. So maybe the first one is around organizations. I worked in multiple companies and with very different organizations. And as you know, engineering is always a passionate topic. Should it be central? Should it not be central? I've seen all the organizations, but what I figured is that every time it's working based on people, their willingness to work together. No organization is perfect and you always hit the same issues. So in fact, it's just a aha moment every time I join a company, because again, it's up to people to connect. There's no perfect org. So that's the first one. Second one is more personal. I'll give an example. At Eaton, for instance, I joined as the engineering vice president, and I had lots of feedback from my peers and my bosses, and I was surprised to get some feedback from people who told me I was not technical enough. I was trying to focus on, again, organizations, talent growth, and for sure technology, but maybe not as much as people would expect. Then I just moved to a business role where I'm really head down into business and financials and customers and value propositions. And people tell me, be careful, and you have a tendency to be too technical in your new role. So I found it very funny. And in fact, I would say the aha moment is you cannot be what people expect of you all the time, but be aware of what's expected of you in your role and try to give people what they expect from you. Doesn't mean you need to change, but you could be surprised by the perception you get. So these are two interesting learnings I've had through my career.
Absolutely, Anne. And I really like that second point. It's important not to let yourself feel like you're getting pigeonholed by other, perspectives. And there's always opportunities to learn and delve into new paths of interest, whether that's operations or marketing or technical background, as you suggested. So, Laura, care to add your perspective here on any unexpected lessons you've learned?
I completely agree with Anne. I think you can let people define who you are. For me, some of the unexpected lessons, that even come with that as well. Essentially is that you always got to be ready for change. You always got to be ready to think on your toes, change fads. Risk mitigation is huge when you are in program management, which is the role that I'm currently on. And I think that the things that you're learning and that, like what you got to be ready for, it changes. If you're an engineer, like if something breaks, and then you got to be, able to like think of a different solution. So I think it's really about being able to think on your toes, being able to change paths, be flexible, and just keep going.
Great take there. Milos, anything to add from your end on unexpected lessons?
I'll add my 2 cents as well. I think that the beauty of engineering is that you find it almost everywhere, also in the places where you wouldn't expect that. I remember myself being on the university, learning for the first time about what the regulations are. And I specifically said to myself about this domain that I will never want to do something like that because it felt very boring and distant from normal life. But as I said in the introduction, I happen to do a lot of stuff around regulations. And as some of you might not guess, there is a lot of engineering going on that path. Yes, it's about politics, but engineers play a critical role in driving regulations. And I must say that I actually enjoyed every minute of that experience. I don't do that much anymore, but I miss some of these meetings, and I would have never expected to enjoy such setup.
And I think that's incredibly powerful to get to the point where you're not only influencing a company or an organization or a department within that organization, but truly, the legislative direction of where we're going in terms of technologies, in terms of sustainability. So I think that's quite an excellent feather in your cap, and truly an interesting facet of where your career can take you within the R&D side of the business. Excellent. Well, I do see we're getting a few questions from the audience, so why don't we take a look at some of these? Jalil had asked, what is the region where you expect to see the most growth? Could it be Europe, even with this energy crisis, or in the Mideast with great developing powerhouses such as Turkey, or the US with its energy superpower status, or even Latin America with its many unexploited energy and energy-related resources, such as the lithium triangle in South America? Great context there, Jalil. And Anne, would you care to weigh in on this?
Sure. So it's a very complete question. I see that you're really aware of what's happening, so I'll make a short answer, but happy to discuss offline. I'm deeply into this business, so I can tell you how we see it at Eaton. In spite of the challenges we have in Europe with the wars and the gas and Ukraine and now Israel, I think we are leading the way in terms of regulation. Back to Milo's point, Europe has always been leading sustainability advices and now regulations. So we are developing solutions from Europe, which are then spreading in the US. So for sure, Eaton in EMEA is key. We are the ones who are the first ones to really integrate all these regulations. The US is less stringent in terms of regulations, but still it's coming. So I would say we leverage this knowledge to prepare our solutions, which will be US ready. Of course, in US now, since we have Electrify America, there's big investments. We see, of course, very different dynamics from different states. But the great thing for us is we can leverage everything because it's a bit simpler with regards to the fact that, it's not like here, every country has different voltages, different requests. So for us, we'd say it starts from Europe where we develop the first innovative solutions, then we spread into US. Middle East, yes, huge projects, super interesting, looking forward to see all these big cities of the future grow, and we will be partners in Middle East. So I would say each region of the world is evolving to its own speed, according to their culture, according to their history, according to the resources they have. But we can see a global momentum towards the same goal. So this is why it's super interesting to work in a global company, because you have access to all the pieces of the puzzle. So I don't know if I answered the question, but for sure we understand the dynamics, and each of us is bringing his contribution to the global challenge.
Yeah, I really like that perspective, Anne. And I think, to even add some color there, there is so much cross-pollination when it comes to standards, adopting best practices, both with new technologies and developments, as well as how those ingratiate into electrical codes and standards, right? So IEC best practices are often adopted within the UL NEMA space, and vice versa in areas of energy development. As mentioned, Latin America is a great example there. So I do think there's a lot of potential across the world from a global level, and there's no one region that's necessarily out of that scope of purview. So I see another good question here from Jay. What motivates you to keep learning and growing in your engineering career? Milos, care to answer on motivations that are learning and growing in your engineering career?
For me, this has been always about what can I accomplish? What am I capable of when it comes to my current setup, my current role and responsibilities? And the journey says that you are always able to do more than you think. It's just about how much you believe in yourself and how much others believe in you in terms of what you are, what is your competence. I am not a pessimist, but I wouldn't think that I think high of myself. But it's been quite influential to see how people think about me and what can I do in terms of the engineering and manager career right now. And when I look back 5, 6, 10 years ago, I would have never thought about where I am right now. And the motivation comes with experience and exercise. Looking at the progress, I wonder how far can I go and where does it stop? If I have the same level of support as I have right now, maybe I will go all the way to where N is or even further.
You have no limit, Milos.
I love it. I love it. I see a great question here that I know Laura can add some perspective on as well. This one's from Manuel. Hi, I would like to know about early career programs for graduate students in the U.S. Laura, care to add your perspective there?
Yeah, for sure. So Eaton actually is a really active company when it comes to recruiting. Like as I mentioned earlier, I was recruited at the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers Convention, and those conventions are geared towards college students. Whether you are looking for an internship or a full-time role, you can come to one of the career fairs that we hold. We also come to some of the universities and recruit there. I would say if you're interested, definitely go into eaton.com and careers and look for technology programs, internship. You can put your name in there. And then if you come to one of the conventions, just come prepared, bring your resume. What helps if you're looking for full-time roles is that you need an internship under your belt. And we go to all the career conferences. So SWE, we go to NSBE, all of them. So we're there. And we usually have we have hospitality suites, a lot of things for students to come and meet us and learn about Eaton and their technologies. A lot of programs. Like I said, I enter Eaton with the rotational development program, which allowed me to see different parts of the business because this is a really big company. We're in 95 countries. And that's a lot. That's a lot of space to cover. And we have a lot of technologies. So whatever you're interested in, we probably have it.
Thanks so much for those resources. And I think that's, really important to contextualize, which is that you can get FaceTime with this organization, with lots of folks and lots of others that have their own journeys, their own careers. And just like Laura, I met face to face with some recruiters as well as some employees from Eaton at a similar career fair. So excellent context there. I see one more question from the audience. That's a pretty great one. This one comes from Thomas. It seems there are over 2,500 people on this call. And thank you all for joining us again. Thomas asks, is there any advice on standing out from the crowd for opportunities at Eaton? Anne, care to tackle this one?
I love the question. Thanks, Tomas. Well, just be yourself. I think Eaton is one of the companies where your personality matters as much as your skills. And you can see on this panel, we're pretty special ones. So just show your passion, just be proactive, just reach out and participate to the initiatives that we are putting together. I think the market now has changed. When I started, it was all about your degrees, your resume, not to mention it's not important anymore, but as I mentioned earlier, it's all about connecting with others. We're a global company, different cultures. So we look for people who are passionate, who are special. So just asking this question means you stand out. So just show us who you are. And like Laura mentioned, just look at the opportunities we have and come meet us.
I wholeheartedly agree. And there's not any one path to success, but it never hurts to take the initiative, right? With reaching out, with asking questions, with getting connected with others. I think, you never know what the one opportunity is going to be that gets your foot in the door. And there's no single answer to that path to success, but there are a lot of ways to strengthen your network, to strengthen those number of opportunities. And you never know what sort of connections will open up doors down the road for you. So excellent take. Well, let's get back to some other questions for our panelists. This one is a memorable aha moment where you really realize the impact of your work. Laura, do you mind starting with any memorable aha moments from your work?
Yeah, for sure. So far in my career, I had the opportunity to work in really cool projects. I think one of my last projects, was one of the ones where it brought about more of the aha moments for me. I was developing an isolated high voltage sensor that was to be put into a junction box for an electric bus. And when I was developing this is a brand new thing. It doesn't exist. There's nothing similar from before. And then for me, the aha moment was like, oh, shoot, like this is going to go in a bus and people are going to be in this bus. And what if it breaks, right? Like it's nerve wracking, number one. Because you don't know what's going to happen, but then you kind of have to think back and say, oh, there's a lot of people checking your work. There's a lot of testing that happens before it even like goes into mass production, so then you put yourself at ease as an engineer. And then it's just like a moment of, I don't know, I want to say like happiness, where you're like, oh, wow, like something that I built, something that I make is out there in the world, changing the way that we will be transporting in the future. So this is a new way of technology, and that's really exciting. And I don't know, it just brings joy, I would say.
I love that, and I know that resonates with you as well. Care to add anything on aha moments from you realizing the impact of your work?
Thanks. Absolutely, Laura. It resonates. And the way I realized it is a bit different to yours. So back to your example, I worked some years ago on a router for aviation. And, not that I forgot about it, but, you work on so many projects. It was a very exciting one. Funny thing is, not later than last July, my daughter was hosting a party at home, and she's in her 25th. So she has friends of that age. And I chat with one of them and I tell him, what are you working on? And he says, oh, I'm working in aviation and I'm working on this fantastic router, which is now flying on all the Airbus aircraft. And I said, oh, funny. I worked on that project. I was the program manager. And he looked at me like I was Albert Einstein or something. And I was like, wow. So that was amazing. What are the odds? And so to your point, yes, it is great to see your products flying. And also seeing people, recognizing that you've been a pioneer in some of the domains. And then another one is also, as you grow in more leadership roles, is how you can really change people's careers. I wouldn't say people's life, but still somehow. And I'll give a few examples. When I worked in a different company, I had a great team. But when I moved role, I was keen on having my successor out of my team. So I really coached my successor and said, you need to apply for this role. And he said, no, I'm not ready. I'm not sure. And I said, yes, you need to. So he applied. He got my role. So it was his first director role. And now he's a general manager of a big engineering organization. And he might go to a CTO role at some point. So I'm really proud of that. It's really an aha moment because, of course, I was sure he could do it. But seeing that happen and materialize and now watching him grow his career through LinkedIn makes me feel fantastic. And I know it happened to a few of you. Same with you, Milos, by the way. I'm really proud of you. So that's fantastic to live these moments.
Awesome. Milos, would you like to add your perspective on an aha moment?
Yeah, would love to. We have plenty of moments like Anne just described, because R&D is all about working on stuff that is new, is challenging, is difficult to do, often very, very expensive. And at some point, when we demonstrate that's feasible, has added value, and has a potential to go into production, we have to let go and we leave our stuff and we start working on new concepts while other teams at Eaton continue. And this happens quite often, almost every year, that we lose control of our babies that we grow from the smallest nuts and bolts to something that works and maybe operates in a truck or an airplane. And then a couple of years later, we get to see that's actually went somewhere, gets applied in real life scenarios. And it's only then that you realize how much impact is Eaton and the Argent teams making on society and customers. I also like to remind myself that it's often the R&D teams that are the first of Eaton that are seen by our future customers, and that we have to make a good interaction and a good impact, positive impression, so that it stays and our successors can build on that and create a very appealing story for the whole company.
I think that's a great take and some really well-rounded, thoughts on impact, not only on the technology side and products and solutions space, but also on the organizational space. And I think back to some of the products that I've gotten to see from ground zero and are now finally, making its way into the industry. Nothing as powerful yet as even, the jump to general solutions in a wider space that Anne has seen. But it certainly resonates with me. And even stronger than that, made perhaps, is that mentor-mentee relationship, really being able to influence the careers of others who you advocate for the exact same way that I think back to mentors for myself that have really helped giving me not only guidance, but the opportunities to grow and develop myself into, the place that I am now. So it's one of the things that I feel Eaton does best, and truly makes me excited to be a part of this team. So let's get into another question. What professional development opportunities does Eaton offer to engineers interested in sustainable technologies or green initiatives? And I know you do a ton of work in this space, so care to offer your thoughts on professional development opportunities?
No, absolutely. And as you described at the beginning, sustainability is in our DNA. So for engineers, I would say the way we offer you to develop is hands-on joint projects. I'll be a bit more specific. So we are organized in Center of Excellence, as we name it, which is a pool of engineers which are specialized in one area. So we have tons of those, but I will talk about the one that is called Product Stewardship, which is Sustainability Center of Excellence, I would say. So big team of engineers there. So if you're interested, you can join this stewardship COE, and you will be, let's say, the gurus or the chief masters of how to build sustainable products. Then, of course, you can join an engineering team, and more specifically, maybe some of our innovation projects, which are incentivized to be around making products more sustainable and more innovative in that area, whether it's packaging, designing, recyclability, circular economy, you name it. And last but not least, there's research, which I'm sure Milos will talk about a bit later, but we are engaged in research on all the new technologies and regulations coming with the greener grid, vehicle to home, for instance, or all these types of research. So it's super exciting as an engineer to be one of the first ones to put together a technology or a software that is going to be participating to the road to green. So the way I would summarize it is it's very hands-on. Of course, we have trainings, but we prefer when we put you into a project and then you can really be part of the team.
Absolutely. Milos, care to add some color to that on the Eaton Research Lab work?
Yep. I'll play it a bit more concrete and just state out that all of the projects that we currently have at the Eaton Research Labs team are contributing to reducing CO2, promoting sustainability, improving the quality of life, either of the current generation or the future generation. And it's really exciting to be part of that, especially because, and if it's not clear to you yet, you will realize very soon that Eaton is a purpose-driven company. And we, as a collective, understand how important are our products for the ongoing energy transition. Feels cool to be part of it, and especially here in Prague, where we develop new system excellence, system domain expertise when it comes to hydrogen consumption, production, management as well. We have new installations of energy storage for building use. We have vehicle to grid. We have electric chargers. It's a cool site, and I'm still wondering how far we can go in terms of what are the other things that we can implement here. And if you are interested, I'd be happy to talk to you about details and how can you contribute to that.
Yes, that's excellent. And I see that the discussion is taking off. We have a lot more questions coming in from the audience. So why don't we take a few more? I see a good question from Sylvie here, who mentions that engineering is a very male-dominated field typically, and the few female engineers decide to pursue other careers sometimes later on. So what efforts are in place at Eaton to empower women in engineering? We've got two great perspectives here. So Laura, care to start us off?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit of what Eaton does. So I would say, so we have for women in engineering, which I am one, we have ERGs. We have ERGs that are, some of them are just for women, and we also have for other groups. But also we have different, just for women. So for example, last year I participated in the C-suite And it was like a cohort where you meet with women from other regions, and you essentially, like you meet with them like once a month, and then you talk about, like what are your challenges being a female and your role. And the groups are usually pretty diverse. We usually have executive sponsors, kind of like Lilian here, and they give you like their perspective, like how whatever challenges you're facing in your current role, and if you want to essentially create a path to go into your next role. And it just really helps having the support system, and it's females within the company that you probably wouldn't otherwise touch, bases with or pads with, because they're either in other businesses or somewhere else. Like I had somebody, my buddy, she was in Brazil and I'm in Oregon. And in another situation, like I had somebody that was in Georgia. So like it's just everybody, all the women from all over the company, you have the opportunity to go into this networks and just kind of see like the struggles, like that we face as women, and how can we change that for others to come. Before I wasn't as outspoken, and now I feel like I've grown in my confidence, being a little bit more outspoken, and even telling my managers like, hey, like we need to get more women hired onto our team, because I mean, when I came into mobility, I think I was the only female in a team of 40. So that's not always like the most encouraging. And you want to see yourself within the teams around you.
I think that's some great takes on the influence there and the power connectivity within that. One thing just to share with our audience who may be unfamiliar, that ERG is an Eaton resource group, and we have various resource groups ranging from women in engineering, all the way to different cultural groups, all the way to organizations within Eaton called Engage, that's specifically around early talent and development and retention. So a lot of different ways that you can interact with various perspectives and see how to gauge that connectivity and see others within the organization that you can relate to and strengthen our collective power through those perspectives. So really great conversation there. So another question here is adding to that sustainability that we talked about just a little bit earlier. This comes from Leonardo. Could you please share Eaton's vision, strategy, and plans to promote CO2 reduction around the world? And Milos, any thoughts on the CO2 reduction vision?
I'm going to ask you to download our sustainability report. Yes, 35 pages, and we explain everything around our philosophy, how we participate to that, how you as an individual can participate to that. So I don't want to avoid the question, but I don't want to shorten it. It's a whole ecosystem we're building, and you're part of it. So I really encourage you to go to our website and download the report and read through it. It's very complete.
And I can just provide a bit of a detail how to illustrate how we deploy the strategy within Eaton. If you would become an Eaton employee, you would clearly see that we have a metrics, which is CO2 reduction and how we contribute to sustainability, embedded in each project that we execute. It needs to be clearly specified, evaluated, and guaranteed. And that's how we embed this thinking within the Eaton's employees. And I must say that I was skeptical in the beginning, but it's working. I can say that right now.
Excellent. And I see we have a link to the report down below. So thanks so much for including that. Some great context to delve deeper into that subject. So let's take a step back and talk a little bit about collaboration within Eaton. How does Eaton encourage cross-functional collaboration and skill building amongst its employees? Laura, would you start?
Sure, I can kick us off. So as a program manager, I am lucky enough to work with all the functions in our group. I work with operations, engineering, supply chain, sales. And so some of the ways that I encourage collaboration, I guess I will say first as a PM and then as how Eaton does it. As a PM, I encourage Scrum meetings, meeting face to face, having workshops together. Also, really encourage the teams to go to to our plants locations, because you learn so much when you go to the plant. And I would say for myself too, before I was like, oh, I don't want to go to the plant. Now I'm like, oh, I go to the plant and I understand, and it helps you really get, like understand what are the different struggles and what are the different challenges that we need to overcome when we're trying to industrialize something. And then as far as how does Eaton does it, we also have a Eaton University where you can go into Eaton University and you can take classes that may not be related to your function. So if you wanted to learn a little bit about finance, you can take like a finance 101 class. If you wanted to learn a little bit about, operations and how operations does things, you can go and take those courses and kind of like encourage your own development. But I would say overall, Eaton is a company that has the resources and also encourages its employees to like not just be stuck in one area. Like they allow you to like go and check out the other areas too, right? And that's what I'm saying, visiting the sites, going to other locations, and doing things in that way a little bit, I guess, that way you can get a broader view of how things work.
Excellent.
I can take this one as well, if you give me the chance, Kyle. Because I want to advertise the Eaton Innovation Center a bit. It's my base camp. That's how I learned how Eaton operates. And I really think that that's a role model for how cross-functional collaboration should work. It's a small site. We have about 250 people on board, distributed in about 15 teams and 15 different technology domains, supporting the Eaton businesses. And if you would expect that these operate as silos, I must say no. We collaborate quite a lot. We have common projects with teams from other domains. We leverage expertise and experiences from our colleagues. And I can't really imagine any other way of working here in EIC. I've like given the example of hydrogen testing facility. It's not only for one team, it's for at least 3 teams, and they'll all leverage the investment that we are making for the good of the company and for the good of the society. If you want to learn about collaboration, this is the place to do so.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Milos. In my product management tenure, we leveraged the innovation centers, not only in the United States, but internationally as well. And I totally agree. It's pivotal to not only success in the projects for new product development space, but also a lot of times acceleration of test timelines and leveraging best practices across the industry. So really, really nice way to cross collaborate. So I do see some even more questions that have been collecting in our comments section. So why don't we direct ourselves to one final round of Q&A with the audience? This is pretty interesting. We have a lot of questions that are related to AI, artificial intelligence. What are your thoughts on AI and engineering? Anne?
Thanks for the question. Yes, of course. So obviously, we are very close to all the developments and the benefits that AI is bringing in lots of different domains. So I'd say first, for all of us as employees and as leaders, we use the latest tools. They are now incorporated into our framework. So it helps us a lot, as you know, with meetings, notes, and presentations and all that. But we also have, as part of our CTO organization, our Chief Technology Office, a very special team, which is called the Center of Intelligent Power, based out of Ireland, CIP, which is really developing and putting together all the latest algorithms based on AI. And each of the R&D teams has access to this pool of great minds to make our products better. For instance, everyone hears about remote monitoring, data crunching, data analytics. How can our products be smarter, and how can we deliver our customers with a better view of their system? So we do have a dedicated team which is working on that, and which is really taking the best algorithms, testing them for us, and enabling us to incorporate them in our products. So really at the top there, really interesting. I'm learning every day, and I'm sure Milos will have maybe something to add, but that's how we've been organized around AI. We want to have a central team because there's so many new things going on. We don't want each and every team to go look and integrate a widget on their own, and then it all starts to go west.
Milos?
AI is at the forefront of technology right now. I must say that what we do right now in the research labs is not critically or strictly centered around just AI. It's much broader than that. But we are leveraging the capabilities of AI. And as we speak, we are also looking for candidates that have excellence and expertise within that domain to help us to grow further and to get us a bit more traction on how to leverage the immense power of AI when it comes to processes, reporting, and also developing new technologies. But also need to keep in mind that most of the AI models are just learning from what has been there in the past. Well, we want to do something new, which nobody done up till now. So that's maybe the limit or the challenge for the newcomers with AI knowledge to help us to overcome.
Totally agree. And I think it's important to mention as well that we're integrating the tools of AI, but we're also serving it as an industry too. So you think about artificial intelligence, and one thing that comes to mind is data servers, right? That need a lot of energy and power. I think of the upstream supply chain, more mining, right? With lithium and copper, semiconductor plants have been a huge bubble, at least within the US recently. And all of those things are not only collectively needing infrastructure from an electrical standpoint, but it's also adding stress to our electrical grid, which requires expansion. So, I think when it comes to AI, there's really two ways, that it's critically important, right? Which is integrating the technology and using it to develop and create new processes, new technologies and solutions, but also we are directly serving that industry too. And it's going to be critically important as it scales and grows that we scale and grow on the electrical side. So a pretty fascinating topic to get around, and I'm sure we could spend another couple hours on it if we if we had the time. So I see another question here. What particular area of engineers is Eaton most desired to hire? So do we have any one particular background or focus area within engineering disciplines or engineering backgrounds that we're looking for? Anne, Laura, why don't we start with Anne on this one?
Thanks, Kyle. I think you mentioned it in your opening. We recruit except chemistry. No, kidding, Milos. We recruit in all the domains. The field with regards to whether it's mobility or aviation doesn't matter. We do need electronics, mechanical, software, AI, everything. It's really hard for me to give a specific domain. Again, watch our website and see where you would fit. But for having managed big organizations myself, I always see the same ratio. Of course, proportionally, you always have more software people than electronics and mechanical, and also in operations. But we do recruit in all the domains. So what will matter is, like I mentioned, maybe your experience more, where you come from, and also what you want to do and how fast you learn.
Totally agree. Laura, anything to add there?
Yeah, I would completely agree with Anne. So we, Eaton, I go and recruit with Eaton, all the time. I just really enjoy, like giving people advice on their resume and hearing their stories and what they're interested on. But I would say, I don't think there's, we pretty much take everybody, like all of the different fields. And I think Anne mentioned earlier, like we also like based on your personality, like how well can you work with others is really important. and how how adaptable are you, how quickly are you able to learn, like problem solving, thinking on your toes. So all of the skills that you learn while you're in college, like how effectively can you put those to work in a real life applications on a day-to-day basis. So it's not necessarily like one name of in the engineering degree you have. Is more about like some of the soft skills and the technical skills that you can bring into the team, because Eaton is a very diverse, we thrive on diversity. So we don't need just one person, to know everything. We need many people from many different backgrounds with many different knowledge to make something happen. So I would say, don't hold yourself back if you're like, oh, I'm this type of degree, like they might not have anything for me. I would say, doesn't matter what your background is. Check out the roles, anything that might interest you. I mean, there might be, something for you here if you're interested in innovation.
I would add to that just quickly, because the question extends further, at least for me, and because we don't limit ourselves for domains. But there is one very practical quality that we are looking for each engineer that we hire for Eaton, and that's the ability and enthusiasm for solving real life problems. That's what I always enjoy seeing in people, working with people that want to solve problems, and that's what engineering is all about. So if you like that, Eaton is a company for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I do see we're running up on time here, so let's close with some final questions here, which is, what advice would you give to the audience on how to energize an engineering career? Laura?
I would say, first and foremost, if you have a vision of who you want to be in the future, Eaton's a good place to start, but I think that's the main thing that you need to know, like in your head, right? Like, have a vision, envision yourself where you want to be. Tell people about it, tell them, like, I want to have this job, I want to have this career. Like, even as a young engineer at Eaton, I was like, oh, one day I want to be CTO, of the company. And they're like, that's like a really, like high dream for like a person that is like first day on their job. But just like tell people, voice it, and start looking for opportunities that may take you in that path. And there's no right way to do it. I look at a lot of people's journeys, and I love to have mentors and have a dialogue with my mentors and just kind of like see their perspective and how they got to where they're at. Like even Anne's story is amazing. She said, like, you don't spend too much time, like go from one country to another, like that's the things that she loves about working in a global company. Now she's a VP. It's only somebody to like look up to and aspire to, and that's her journey. And I only hope that in the future I will have a, like a journey, an eventful journey just like that. And so I think that you are the owner of your own story. You're your own artist. So just go with it and achieve your dream.
Wonderful point. Wonderful point. Anne?
Thanks, Laura. It's very inspiring, actually, because what I realized is with you and the younger generation, you seem to know where you want to go, whereas I had no idea at the time. So I think you'll go even further. So what really drove me and what I said is pick a field, a domain that you love. Really, we are so lucky to be engineers. And back to Sylvie's question earlier, some people with an engineering degree, they decide to do something else. True. But that's a power. I mean, you can, with an engineering degree, you can do finance, you can do sales, you can do operations. It doesn't work the other way. You cannot have a financial guy, I mean, maybe, but, become an engineer the other way. So you remain an engineer. You can always go back to technical field. So I'd say pick an industry or something you love. I give an example of when I talk to my team and I see they lose their motivation, I say, you should go work for a yogurt company, do make yogurts if you don't like your products. I mean, it's nothing wrong about people working in the food industry, but if you're not passionate about either your product or your industry or the impact you're having, then the energy will just leave you. And so that's what drove me all these years, just love what you do. And like we said, this is what will make you better and which will make things stick into your mind. In normal life, you only remember the things you like. So you can look at your figures, you can look at your metrics as long as you want. If you don't like it, you will need a cheat sheet. So just love what you do and pick the right the right place for you at the right time.
Milos?
Maybe a quick closing remark from my side, mostly targeted to the younger audience for today, because that's what brought me where I am right now. Never ever say no to an assignment that might look too difficult or too challenging for you in the beginning. You need to take risks. The fact that you've been assigned to this means that other persons around you believe that you can accomplish it. And when you are at the top of the hill and you look back down, you'll be proud of yourself. And that's really driving me and the people around me. And I think that is the inspiring part of working at Eaton. We help people to grow, we develop each individual, and that's how we are successful as a company. What might look impossible on the first sight will definitely boost you and your colleagues in the long term.
Really excellent point. And as someone who's fairly new to their current role myself, that speaks to me deeply, right? You're never in an island, right? You always have some support around you, and it's just a question away, right? Really great advice, everyone. I would like to thank our panelists, Anne, Milos, Laura, for joining today and having such an engaging discussion. And I also want to shout out all of our attendees. Thank you for sharing your time with us today and submitting your questions. If you're curious about Eaton's career opportunities, visit us at eaton.com/careers. And that's the only link that you need to click today in the comments section. So your attention is much appreciated, and we wish you a great rest of your day. Thanks for being with us.